It's time for another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and the topic today, pretty much every day this time of year, Carolina basketball, in particular, the Cormac Ryan effect. I want to dive into his recent shooting numbers and just chat a little bit about the importance of Cormac Ryan, someone who has taken quite a bit of a beating from Carolina fans. I've had quite a few fans reach out to me and ask why he's starting and say Seth Trimble needs to be on the floor and Cormac is not as good as you said he was and all that. And I tell people, look, he was always been a streaky shooter and scorer in college, and that's probably what you would expect here. There's also the factor of having to fully connect on the court with these guys that he's with now and getting used to playing on a team where maybe he's the fourth scoring option, which has really never been the case, certainly not the last couple of years at Notre Dame. And some of that stuff takes time. And also, Cormac was working through a fairly long shooting slump. But guess what? In last week alone, he was 8 for 16 from three-point range. He hit 4 at Syracuse. He hit 4 against Virginia Tech. And the game before that, he was 2 for 5 at Miami. So that's 10 for 21 in his last 3 games. He elevated his shooting percentage from 3 in the year by 5 percentage points. He's up to 31%, 31, a little bit of change. He needs to get that thing up in the mid-30s. If he gets it up to the mid-30s, 36 or so percent by the time the NCAA tournament starts, that means he continues shooting very well from the perimeter. Now, why does this matter? Well, it matters because they need a guy who's shooting the ball and gets a lot of open shots to knock him down. That's obvious. That's anybody that watches the game understands that. But the effect that it has on the rest of the team offensively, I think is enormous. If you noticed last week, when Cormac was hitting threes, opponents weren't face guarding RJ as much. They had to back off a little bit because you can't devote all of your attention to one guy in the perimeter and then the way teams would like to defend Armando and just continue to leave a guy like Cormac wide open. Everybody knows he could shoot. Everybody knows what he was at Notre Dame. And they know that if he's on, he can be very streaky and hit a ton of threes. He can hit them in bunches. So last week, the Cormac Ryan effect was RJ doesn't have to go 20 shots to get 20 points. He scored 20 points on 13 shots against Virginia Tech. It takes some of the pressure off him. He could be a little bit more efficient. It challenges other teams defensively even more. It also opens up a little bit more of the driving lane as well, because again, teams can't back off of Cormac. They can't back down and double Armando as quickly because there's more distance to travel. We saw Armando go for 25 against the Hokies. And I just think the lift that it gives this team. Harrison Ingram didn't hit a 3 Saturday against Virginia Tech, and who noticed? Because Cormac hit 4. Now, Harrison's been very good from three-point range for a while now. He's only had 2 games, I think, since Connecticut in which he has not hit a 3. So he's been fairly consistent. So if you add the Cormac Ryan suddenly consistent hitting threes, that really gives Carolina 3 perimeter threats that are veteran guys that know what they're doing out there. And you've got the inside presence of Armando, who has picked up his scoring again, been a little bit more of a focal point of the offense. And you've got the Elliot Cadeau factor dishing. And suddenly this is a very, very difficult offensive team to defend. Now, they've been pretty difficult for the most part as it is, but this puts them on a different level. And I will add that Armando last week, if you look at the 2 games in which Cormac hit 4 threes in each game, Armando was 13 for 20. He doesn't have to put up a ton of shots to score a lot of points. He had 39 points on 13 of 20 from the field. RJ Saturday goes for 20 points on 13 shots from the field. So the Cormac Ryan effect is enormous for this team moving forward. It helps everyone else economize. And it's got to be incredibly stressful for opponents if they have to defend all of that. Now, what does this do moving forward? What kind of level does this put the Tar Heels? I think, personally, that if he is that guy moving forward and they get back to being close to what they were defensively during the 10-game win streak, I think that makes this a Phoenix team. Doesn't mean they'll get there. I'm not guaranteeing they'll get there. I'm not predicting them to get there. I'm just saying they are a Phoenix team if that's what they're doing. And perhaps they are a cut down the Nets Monday night team. I still think other things need to fall into place. Trimble, who is getting healthier from the concussion, he needs to give them what he gave them pre-concussion. And Hubert does need to use the bench some. He shied away from it here a little bit of late. He needs to use Jalen Withers and Jalen Washington. He needs to rest his starters. He needs to throw different looks at other teams so they can't get a total beat on what the Heels are doing. But absolutely, RJ keeps doing what he's been doing. Harrison Ingram keeps doing what he's been doing. Armando keeps doing what he's been doing the last few weeks. Elliott kind of wobbling around, but he's even with 5 turnover games, he's still doing a lot of positive things to affect the game and help this team win. Miami's a perfect example. And you throw the Cormac Ryan effect into the equation, that makes this a damn good basketball team. It makes it a fun team. It makes it a team that stresses opponents as much as you can stress them. And it makes it a team that can absolutely find their way to Phoenix. And that would be quite an accomplishment for a group thrown together in the offseason with wonderful parts, but the parts have to come together. And you got those 2 holdovers. And if they can get a second Final Four out of 3 years, that'd be pretty impressive for their career. And I think it'd be a pretty good job by Mr. Davis, by Hubert. I think Hubert, by and large, done a good job with this club. But stop switching on D, play the bench more, and then let everyone else do what they can do and should be doing. And that last piece, in my opinion, has been the Cormac Ryan effect. So he's 10 for 21 in their last 3 games, 8 for 16 last week. So he's gone 2, 4, and 4 in makes in the last 3 games. And if that continues somewhere near that, he's not going to go 4 for 7 and 4 for 9 in each game. He's not going to do that. But if he's in that neighborhood the rest of the way, it's going to be a damn good basketball team. If you like the fact that Cormac Ryan has been hot from 3 of late, if you agree with me, if you believe the Cormac Ryan effect takes this team over the top and really makes them an absolute Phoenix Final Four team. I keep saying Phoenix, that's the Final Four if you didn't know. That's where the Final Four is located, which, by the way, 2017, Final Four was in Phoenix. Last time Carolina won the national championship. So if you agree that the Cormac Ryan effect is huge for this club and that it changes how teams have to defend some of the other Tar Heels, it just makes them a lot better offensively, go ahead and click like on this video. Make sure you share it with your Carolina friends. Let them know we're here if they don't know. And also go to our site, TarHeelIllustrated.com, just $8.33 a month for a 1-year subscription. Now's the time to jump in. We have a ton of Carolina basketball information that is only premium. We've been putting out some samples lately. So go to our site. You can see some of the samples of our tidbits and some takeaways. And I think one of my columns was free as well. Go check that stuff out because starting sometime this week, it's going to be premium the rest of the way. It's the heat of the season. If you want all that stuff, if you want to be a Carolina Tar Heel insider, you want to know more than the other guys at the water cooler or at the bar or wherever, at the gym, got to become a premium member and you will be that guy. Trust me on that. Just $8.33 a month. I'm AJ and I appreciate you stopping by.